In a past video, we installed a cheap Chinese stereo in my FJ Cruiser. Now we are going to add some bass to it. I leave you the video here where I disassembled the original subwoofer. I already attempted to upgrade the stock subwoofer, replacing the OEM speaker with a 300 watt subwoofer, but it didn't sound very good. I was using the same box, and I got back like the 40 watts old subwoofer, and I even used a different box later for the subwoofer, and the acoustics in the FJ is not very good. So we are trying again, but there is a change now. We are going to add a Digital Bass Restorer or something like that, Epicenter, someone called it. In order to add the Epicenter or Bass Restorer to a system, we have to have a Bass Restorer unit, and we are going to start connecting the line level output of the stereo, the RCA jacks, to the Epicenter or Bass Restorer. So from there, using the line level again, we're going to start connecting the Bass Restorer to the amplifier, and then from the amplifier to the speaker. And remember to activate the low pass filter in the amplifier if you are not using external crossovers. You will see many different bass restorers, but all of them are the same. As you can see, they only add colors, move some controllers from here to there, or are some of the internal jumpers to the outside. So, but at the end, they are the same. Everything started with the audio control Epicenter, but Epicenter is a trademark. It's not that all of them are different units. All of them do the same work, but only audio control units can be called Epicenters. Like Orphonics, for example, as you can see, it is almost the same Epicenter. Let's compare them side by side, and you can see that they have the same illumination right here and the same adjustment for swipe and wipe. And the inputs and outputs are located in the same side. Same for the dash control and power. Even inside, they have almost the same components. Let's see it. This is the inside of the Digital Bass Restorer from Phonics. These little chips are operational amplifiers. There are two in each chip, so they use this operational amplifier for making crossover preamplifiers or mixing sounds. And it looks like we have 11 of those. Since each one has two, we have 22 operational amplifiers in the board. It also has this integrated circuit that has a part number scratched on purpose. I think that to avoid people looking into the components and duplicating the circuit. Too bad, they already did. And here's another one that has been scratched. We can see some transistors, general purpose transistors, some settings with jumpers. I don't see any digital circuit. Even the scratched one, I don't think those are digital, since we will need a processor, even if those are memories or RAM. This is the input, another transistor, general purpose transistor, some LEDs. Well, the only difference I saw is both circuits is this little yellow chip. That in the case of the Phonics one, there are only some resistors in place, so I will assume that the yellow chip in the Epicenter is just an array of resistors. Who knows? I don't. But I think pretty much is the same, because any other components are the same. Well, we cannot corroborate that with the scratched chip, but everything looks the same, the position, the circuit, everything. I saw some videos when they recommend the Epicenter over the Bass Restorer. For me, they sound the same. Even the dash remote is exactly the same. In my remote there was some broken track, so I had to repair it and install some jumpers on wires to fix it. The RJ12 connector in the bus restorer or the main circuit has 4 pins and everything is connected to something, but in the dash remote one of the pins is not connected to anything. Not sure why. Maybe, I don't know, the track just evaporate because it has a LED and it doesn't show connected. This is a simple diagram of how the dash controller is working. We have a potentiometer with double potentiometer for a stereo output, so 6 pins, and there's not much to it. 3 resistors, the LED. Also, in the inside of the unit, we have the input grounding. If you want to match the grounding of the unit with the amplifier and the stereo, you can set this up. Also, the system grounding, when your alternator is having issues and put some sound, some noises into the system, you can isolate the ground or set it to 200 ohm to minimize this noise. And also the output signal level. That is because not all amplifiers use the same signal intensity. My amplifier will use 2.5. Some of the digital amplifiers need a little bit more, so you can set that voltage in here. Also, you have these 2 controllers. The sweep, it will control the frequency you want to boost, and the wide is how much you want to increase that frequency. Also, the dash remote is more like for the volume of the sound or the intensity of it. I'm not sure, but you do see a change when you adjust the potentiometer. We are talking so much about the bass, and I mentioned that we are going to activate the internal crossover and amplifier to filter the low pass frequencies because we just want to fix the bass in this car. But let me explain a little bit more about crossovers. These are used to split the different frequencies in the music to be sent to the correct speaker of each frequency. For example, this crossover will divide the music into low frequencies or bass, mid frequencies or just the mids, and the high frequencies, or better known as tweeter. If we add the bass restorer to this, we just connect the output of the crossover to the bass restorer. From the output of the stereo, it's going to go to the crossover, and from the crossover, it's going to go to just the low frequency output is going to be connected to the Digital Bass Restoer Processor or Epicenter. And from there, we are going to send it to the subwoofer amplifier. So why do we split the frequencies? In the music, each of the instruments has to produce a different range of frequencies depending on the kind of instrument. For example, if the male voice has a little more low frequencies than the female voice is a little bit more high pitch. But both of them are on the middle range of frequencies. Some bass guitars are very, very low frequency or bass frequencies. That's what we call bass to the subwoofer and things like that, because the frequency it plays. A violin will have higher frequencies, so we can send those to the tweeters. So voice goes to the middle, bass and other deep instruments are going to go to the subwoofer, and high frequency like smaller strings are going to go to the tweeters. Let's see how these different frequencies place in a computer. Let's see the graphics it plays in the computer and analyze that. This is the voice of a beer drinking man in a computer. As you can see the man's voice, there are some vertical lines that we can see because of the low frequency. Let's see a bass guitar. Same as the man's voice, very low frequency, so we see a lot of vertical lines. Let's see a violin. As the frequency gets higher, the lines are very difficult to see each of them. So let's see a female voice.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
Now with a high-pitched female voice, the graphic just shows like as a blob, something like that. You don't see much of the frequencies. So those lines you see is how the speaker moves up and down. So that is the importance of the crossover in the separation of the sounds for the speakers, so they can sound better. So let's do a quick test. We will connect the stereo to the amplifier and the amplifier to the subwoofer. I have to mention that I'm not using the factory subwoofer box or a speaker. I'm using the Logitech one that I showed you in my last video. For you to better appreciate the difference between a non-bass restorer system and a bass restorer system, it's better if you use headphones or some audio system with a subwoofer. The epicenter of bass restorer connects like an amplifier. You have to supply a remote that only has 12 volts when you turn off the key, and permanent 12 volts and the ground. From there, you just connect the line level outputs of the stereo to the bass restorer or epicenter, and the output of the bass restorer goes to the subwoofer amplifier. And don't forget to connect the dash remote, because you won't hear any difference if that control is not connected. So here is the balance inputs for. I don't see the point of calling them balance, since the balance audio is a different concept and it's used more in live audio, like concerts and things like that. But anyway, they call it balance audio, even with just 2 wires for each channel. And from there, from this input, there you connect another two RCAs to the input of the amplifier. And again, I will set the amplifier to bridge, and also activate the subwoofer low pass filter or internal crossover. Let's hear it. Now the output of the amplifier is 250 watts, and the output of the stereo is like 13 per channel. So there's a huge difference. So in order to avoid just listening to bass all the time, I will dial down the sensitivity of the amplifier so it can be more in harmony with the car speakers. I will install another amplifier for the speakers in another video. I feel like the FJ Cruiser has a very bad acoustic, or the original subwoofer box is for very low power speakers, because it sounds fine with the original system. Add a little bass to it, but just a little bit. And trying to install a more powerful subwoofer speaker in the box just made it worse. So I added the Logitech subwoofer box, of course without the amplifier, all the internals, and I pretty much like the sound of it. I have to figure out how to add another box to the FJ in order to get this kind of sound. But as we see in the video, the bass processor or Epicenter improves the system a lot. I will do a research and see if I can put an aftermarket box or something like that. The current subwoofer is 8-inch, but even that the Logitech is also 8-inch only, it managed to pull way more bass than the original subwoofer box with an additional with a different speaker, not only with the OEM speaker, with also with another speaker. In fact, if I put the same speaker of the Logitech subwoofer box into the FJ Cruiser box, and it didn't sound the same. So I will close with this, and thank you very much for watching my videos, and see you next time. Take care.